Political commentator, Republican strategist. He is in New York City on the streets right now with the mood heading into the election. Is this Mamdani's to lose now? What do you think is going to happen?
It absolutely is Zohran Mamdani's to lose right now. Right now, the big question is not whether or not he loses, it's how much he wins by. Does he get a plurality and he can't crack 50%? Or does he crack 50%, which would be much more of a mandate for what he wants to do? Remember, a lot of his policies are things that, while he says he wants to raise taxes and provide free buses for New Yorkers and change affordable housing, he can't do them without the state legislature and the governor authorizing them. And there are going to be a lot of Democrats in the state legislature and Governor Hochul who, if he can't crack 50%, will say, well, you know, it might not be politically good for me next year, when it's an election year for them, to go with Mamdani's stuff versus going with their own guts.
Hey, what about the Trump factor here? Do you think Mamdani would be anywhere this popular if it wasn't for Donald Trump in the Oval Office right now? In other words, the effect and counter effect of Trump as president.
Yes, I do think he would be this popular because Donald Trump really hasn't played a role in this particular election. Yes, people are upset about ICE raids and other things related to national policy, but at the end of the day, Zohran Mamdani did a fantastic job of talking to voters about the issues that matter to them, and that's affordability and access to plenty of city services that just weren't working under Eric Adams and before that Bill de Blasio. Voters have felt that they have been ignored and forgotten, and therefore it has been an issue that has gone out and been it has been an issue that they feel that they've been left behind. It's almost similar to Trump voters across the rest of the country. There are plenty of New Yorkers who have felt that they're not being listened to by their elected leaders.
Some of Mamdani's promises, and Evan, you were outlining them, you know, about free bus rides, city-run grocery stores, etc. His critics have said this is, you know, unicorns and rainbows kind of stuff. I wonder, how left-wing is he actually? What can he actually do in New York City?
Well, in New York City, it really depends upon the state legislature. At this point, it really is, again, as I said at the beginning of this appearance, that whether or not he can crack 50% and get a large mandate. If he can get that mandate, then that's a warning shot across the bow of other Democrats in the state. And Democrats will have to, in 2026, factor that into their primary considerations, because they could get a far left challenger as a result. But at the end of the day, there's also the Cuomo factor. You have to remember that Andrew Cuomo was supposed to win the primary in June and become the Democratic nominee, but he was not made that because he ran a terrible campaign. To give you an example, in my neighborhood, which is a strong Cuomo neighborhood, which he needs to carry by 70, 80% of the vote in order to even have a chance, there were a lot of Mamdani volunteers out this morning outside polling places saying, go out and vote for Zohran Mamdani. They know they're not going to win my neighborhood, and that there are other Cuomo strongholds that they're not going to win. But if they can eat into that lead, that guarantees a Mamdani win. There were 0 Cuomo volunteers out there.
Evan Siegfried on the streets of New York, political commentator, lives in New York, Republican strategist as well, head of this big race tonight in New York City for mayor. Thanks for doing this, Evan. Great to see you.
Great to see you too, Todd.